and welcome back to Face Off as we wrap up the NFL here in our second segment with moving back to our Coach of the Year picks, the Indianapolis Colts. They're 6-3, guys. They're in the playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
The playoffs?
Yes.
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
Jim
Yes.
Moore? Is Jim Moore going to come back and coach the playoffs?
What? Oh, no, I say they do make the playoffs, and I say that because they were tied with the Steelers for the wild card spot. Now that Big Ben's out, they've got a pretty easy schedule coming up, so I really think they can go 10-6 and just slip in.
I agree. The AFC stinks, and
You really don't like it. You really think the AFC is horrible.
I think. Look at them.
It is pretty bad.
It is pretty bad. Up until like 2-3 weeks ago, there were 2 teams in the conference with a winning record. 2 teams.
They're easily America's sweetheart at this point. Everyone's going to root for him. I really believe that every single person in America is going to root for that team to do well. I know I am. It seems like nothing's going to stop them. With the schedule, like you said, I wish I had the schedule in front of me. Whoops. But, yeah, they're going to make it. But the rookie, down, like it's been happening with Tannehill for the past 2 weeks, I feel like that Andrew Luck's going to have to come down there sooner or later. It's happening to RG3 also.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make it not only because of the fact that the AFC, I think, is a little weaker. I think they're 2 games ahead of everybody in the wild card race. But look at their schedule. This week at New England, okay, that's probably a loss. Buffalo, at Detroit,
Win.
Tennessee, at Houston, at Kansas City, home against Houston. They could lose 2, at most 3 games.
Wait,
the
you
rest of
said
the
they
way.
play Houston twice?
Yes.
Well, that's
But
3
they-
games.
yeah, but
New
they-
England and Houston.
No, they're going to
Well,
beat
they-
Houston week 17 at home because Houston will have already locked up home field.
Yeah.
Are they going to want their okay, but what if you run into that dilemma? What if Indy's fighting to make the playoffs? If you're Houston, you can't sit your team because you don't want your divisional rival in there.
Well, that depends on their
You have to look out for your
All
own
right.
team.
After
you have to look out
last
for
year
your own
with
team.
Schaub getting hurt, I don't think
All right.
they'd risk that.
But yeah, that's why the Colts.
Giants played against
Giants
played against New England.
I just want it.
Everything was set in stone.
Hey, I just want a playoff game. Colts Broncos. Moving on.
Oh yes.
The NBA.
That would be
the New York Knicks.
Oh.
Off to a good start.
Oh.
Well, we'll talk about beginning of the season stuff a little further in a few moments. But Kevin, does this good start for the Knicks mean anything?
It means a lot. It actually means a lot. As an incredibly cynical Knicks fan, I would say this has been one of the most exciting teams that I've watched since I was like 10 years old with Latrell Sprewell. They have Jason Kidd starting at the 2 spot now, not really like seen before. The first thought I had was this guy's not going to be able to replace Iman Shumpert. Ronnie Brewer is the poor man's Iman Shumpert. Iman Shumpert's going to be coming back in the second half of the year with Amari. But Jason Kidd has like innovated that position by making it more of a swing offense. We're depending on the 3-point game. And I think really Carmelo Anthony is an easy front runner for MVP like after the first week of NBA.
Whoa. First of all, on my show, don't ever put the words Carmelo Anthony and MVP in the same sentence.
You don't like
Yes.
Melo?
Are you out of your
Everyone hates him.
mind? I can't stand him. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do we have a calendar in here? I don't.
What has it been?
Well,
4 games?
Oh yeah, it's still November. Yeah. Call me back when it's April.
That's my man right there. Listen.
And we'll get to that again
Well,
in a
look,
second.
one thing that can support Kevin's theory is the fact that look at who they beat, and they beat him good. They destroyed your team twice.
Handled him.
They handled the Heat, and they handled the Mavericks.
Well, that's not saying much.
But you know what's going to be interesting to me when Amari's back?
I was just thinking that before. I think he should be coming off the bench.
That's
I
what
really
they
like
want.
the smaller
Apparently,
offense.
they said letting him not come off the bench last year was the reason for their demise last year. They were forcing him to start him.
Exactly.
But it goes back to that Yankee argument, playing because of the contract.
No.
I don't know if I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if is Jason Kidd that important?
Honestly,
Can he last
he's
down the
been-
stretch with
he's
that
been-
age?
I-
All
no,
of his energy was
who's
put
more
in.
important?
All of his energy was put into that championship.
Who's
I feel
more
like he has
im-
nothing
yeah.
left to give later on in the season.
What I'm saying though is who's more important in that situation is Ray Felton because of the depth that they have there, where they can actually have
but
their
you're
backup point.
But you're gonna rely on Ray Felton to win you NBA Finals.
Well, I'm going to expect him to get me at least a good seed in the playoffs.
You guys will not make it past the first round unless you play Brooklyn. You're not gonna make
Well,
it past.
speaking of fast starts,
I hope we get
quick to pull the trigger. That'd be the LA Lakers firing Mike Brown. 5 games? 4?
Oh, yeah, who
yeah.
knows?
I think they were 1-4. 5 games in the
Seems
season.
like everything Dwight Howard touches becomes poop.
2 and 3.
Guys, 5 games in the season. Is the Mike Brown firing justified? Oh, look, I start. Are you kidding me? 5 games? Hey, guess what? There's 77 games left. 77. Are you kidding me?
There's no argument for me there. I don't know if it's Kobe. I doubt it's Kobe. And if it was
That's the
Kobe,
only thing it could be.
If it was
He wasn't
Kobe,
happy.
Yeah, but if it was Kobe, they would have brought back Phil.
No, Phil didn't want to come back.
You think they really think that there's something wrong where they need D'Antoni? That's not me on the bottom. That's D'Antoni. Where they would want him to help out with Nash with that situation and get Dwight Howard involved in an Amari Stoudemire type role? Because I think Dwight Howard is always the issue. Who knows what the hell went on? They're probably trying to cover up for Dwight Howard.
I think the problem was that they didn't. Justifying to the slightest bit for the firing of Mike Brown, he did not give Steve Nash 90% control of the offense like he
Which is what
deserved over
D'Antoni
his
will do,
career.
which is
exactly what D'Antoni will do. So it's understandable to do that, but he's really just walking into a horrible mess here, where it's actually the front office's fault.
And that's a good segue to our next topic. Is D'Antoni walking into a disaster here, so to say?
I'm going to say mostly yes. Yeah, I'll stick with yes. The Steve Nash thing helps him. But for a guy who couldn't handle New York is the bigger market. It's the Mecca, yes. But you're talking about the Lakers. You're talking about Kobe Bryant. You're talking about dealing with Dwight Howard, who does not want to be there. He's on his way out no matter what happens, to be honest with you. He has his eyes set on Brooklyn. Always has, always will. I hope it stays that way. But when you have a guy who's now hated, so I give Dwight Howard saying this, that Dwight Howard is hated. You're walking into a bad situation. D'Antoni's doing it because he needs a job. Yeah. If he was a sought-after coach, I don't think he would have taken it. But I think he's desperate. This is desperate by both sides because I don't know why they didn't want to bring Phil back, but I can see why.
I agree. There's a lot of things that can go wrong for him there. Like we said, the Lakers got a lot of talent, a lot of egos around there. And like you said, he had trouble in New York, so who knows how he's going to do in L.A. But I do think he was the better pick over Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The problem is, though, that this is all the GM's fault. Their depth at bench, you look at it, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Beyond Antoine Jamison, this is the worst bench in the entire NBA. And I think that all has to do with the fact that they gutted their entire assets just to get Dwight Howard and Steve Nash. Steve Nash is now hurt. Dwight Howard is unhappy or whatever emotional.
So you're saying they can't rely on Kobe to carry the team anymore?
No, they haven't been able to in like 4 years.
Well, they won the finals a couple years ago.
Yeah, they had depth.
That's not for you.
They had a bench.
Right. And with that, we'll step off to a break. When we come back, Game of the Week, final thoughts, and Game Ball here on Face Off.